luck swirled. When I went into the woods again today, it was almost like I had to dare myself to prove that I could handle it. Miss Stubb was talking about it in English last week, how she thinks people read scary books and watch horror films as a sort of rehearsal for life, almost to prepare themselves for awful stuff that might happen. I thought it was a really sound idea, but Colin had to butt in as usual. He said that's why he reads porn magazines, to prepare himself for the real thing. Miss Stubb was quick, though. She said she was glad to hear he was still a virgin, and all the other lads fell about laughing. He's a strange mixture, Colin. He's tall and slim with really thick black hair, but he uses that much gel it drips down the side of his face like his hair's sweating. His clothes are crap, cheap sports stuff, baseball cap, and trainers that look like they've had a mud bath. When he's on his own with me, he's sort of quiet and thoughtful, and I can tell that he does think about the stuff we do at school. But most of the time he's with his mates, being loud and bossy, and you wouldn't think he had a brain at all. Anyway, I don't see why I should stop going in Pard's Wood, just because Jack Plum went there. It's my favorite place, and I'd never find a ghost orchid if I backed off. Also, there was something about seeing Jack Plum through my bedroom window in the early hours of the morning, getting on with his weird and separate life. That sort of fascinated me. Samantha and Colin and that lot can be so boring when they're all together. They won't go in the woods unless it's a proper dare. All they ever want to do is hang out, drinking and smoking and playing the dare game. It's just an excuse for snogging. Not that I care, but the lads always want to kiss Samantha because she's got breasts and wears a bra. The other day she told me she's got pubes as well now, and I thought that was tacky to tell someone, and then Colin started boasting about his, and that was enough for me. The other girls around here are either a lot younger than me or a lot older, which is probably why Samantha's always hanging around me. It's hard to make friends at school. Most of them think I'm weird because I'm not obsessed by lads or makeup or designer clothes. Imagine what they think they knew. I liked plants and went searching for them in the woods. I like being on my own anyway, and Pard's Wood is the perfect place. None of the others like going there by themselves because our parents have always told us to keep away, like it's cursed or something. According to Grandma Logan, Pard is an old name for leopard. And there were rumors of a leopard pack living deep inside the woods when she was a kid. Nobody I know has ever been inside Jack Plum's house, and I don't remember ever seeing his mom and dad. I heard Colin say that Miss Plum made Jack by having sex with Farmer Cotton's bull, and that's how he got his big head, but then Colin would say something like that. When I saw Jack Plum again, close up, I saw that rushing feeling you get when you wish you hadn't done something but you can't take it back. I noticed how he kept his head and eyes down like he was frightened to face me, so I moved a bit nearer. His small eyes were watery, but very bright and very blue. There were little beads of spittle at the corners of his mouth which he wiped at all the time with a big red hanky. When I didn't get angry or run off, his grin came right across his face. His teeth were very white and even. Ma'am said he'd never done anything bad, but I'm not stupid, and you hear of those disgusting men who fancy young girls and want to have sex with them. Ma'am's always going on about it when she sees me on the internet, and I have gone into some chat rooms to see what they were like, but it's not for me. I like to see who I'm talking to. I like to watch their faces and check what they do with their hands. Body language, that's another of Miss Dove's things. She told us that the police have all these gestures they look for when they're interviewing suspects. Like if they touch their face or hair a lot. Who works all these things out? Jack Plum was very still. He just said his stuff, then waited. He knew I could shout or run and tell Mom that he was bothering me, but he still took the risk. Part of me really wanted to know why he kept trying to talk to me and why he wanted to give me a present. Another part of me was a bit flattered as well that he'd picked me to talk to. Me out of all the people he could have picked, like Samantha, for instance, but I wasn't ready to go down those dark steps. Nam says I'm growing up, but actually I know she's worried because I'm so far behind the other girls in my class. Most of them have started their periods and have got breasts and wrists. But I'm still fat and straight. Dodgy hormones, she says, trying to keep it light. I'm cleverer, though, always near the top of the class. Miss Dove says she expects me to excel in my GCSEs. Saturday's always video night with Ma'am. Her turn to choose the film. I've got popcorn, chocolate, and a tiny glass of wine out of her bottle, and the film took my mind off Jack Plum. Later, Ma'am chose the high priestess from the tarot. This is a holy woman seated on a throne, holding a large scroll with a crescent moon by her feet. There are 2 columns on either side of her, one with the letter B on it and one with the letter J. This card encourages you to use your intuition when you have to make an important decision, Ma'am said. It tells you to listen to your heart more than your head. When I thought about it, I realized that I had made decisions by listening to both. Sometimes one was stronger than the other, and sometimes they really contradicted each other. Settled in my bedroom, I thought I brought my lemon geranium next to the bed so the scent of it would be close all night long. Lying there, mulling it all over, I knew my head was telling me to keep away from Jack Plum, but my heart was saying the opposite. It wanted me to take risks. It told me Pard's Wood was my place just as much as it was anyone else's. I'd never paid much attention to the tarot before, just gone through the motions with Mam, but it did seem to be communicating with me. How bloody weird that a pack of cards with pictures on could actually mean something. Before I went to sleep, I couldn't resist peeping out into the street, half hoping to see Jack Plum out and about. No sign, though. 5. In which a piglet is named. Last night came wild with boisterous wind. I did not go tromping in the dark time roads or anywhere by Holly Locke's place. She saw me that time gone before, and I could feel worries coming from her. Early daylight time I fetched dropped down beech nuts for my pigs. They love the bruisey sweetness and chomping of its benefit for them. I'll come at their names when I make the calls, and if I made songs, they buck about as broncos, dancing their especial pig dance, bumping me to join, and become like the grizzly bear with fleas. Even piglets do this bump dance. I talk with them on Holly Lock as they lollop the water and dig hollow bed shapes in the sandy ground to cool down in. They know of my curiosity for Holly, my desire to have a friend of my own human pig kind. This day I will try hardest to make her take trust. The pigs understand they must have full stillness when she approaches by, and they will be of help in this. Freya will see it is just so. Man walked up by 4 this a.m. She had the melancholics after dreaming her legs were brought good again, and she said the hurting things about wanting to slice me into rashers when I was a hog boy little. Sometimes I'd take a razor blade and run it along your neck, she told, right along the skin, making a fine red line, and you'd wriggle and kick like a tapeworm until I fastened you tight in your blanket so that you could barely breathe. Of course, your pig-headed father always loosed you off. He used to tell me I was insane. Me, huh? You have no idea of the life I have with that swine. On and on she went, pinning me at the spot with that vengeful eye, to make sure I knew, another time more, of the horror things I fetched to her, sometimes when it is extreme early. Still darkness in the outside world, and all pigs full asleep. Mam's words snap at me like springy barbed stuff, and I plan of putting this fat head within dust-in bags, and fastening tight so that all things end, and sometimes at the very dark time, and she's very whiskey mean. I think to lash at her and fetch silence to the sourness, only sometimes. Holly Lock puts me in memory time of an angel when I saw in the churchyard one pastime when Dad fetched me to rub the brasses. He had his friend that called at our house this time before Mam stepped her outside village sits, and it was a school-time friend. Merg was his called by name, and some early times right by the stump he would toot-a-root out the side of my window. His motoring bike had a side cart on for taking me, and Dad swung on behind Merg. Then we would tumult off the rub the brass things in churches and places and taste sweet cakes and fizzing drinks in between times. We could be out days long, and Mam would be cruelly angry and extra at Merg, who she had proper hates for. And this angel of stone was overlooking the buried place of a baby, and it had this blossomy smile. Dad told me of the words there written, and it was of cherubs and no harm to come in paradise, and that face of the angel was of something in Holly Lock. Later, within the daytime, I see her lurk about with that Samantha. I tell to my pigs a new wishing thing about if Holly does come to Pard's Wood before the 6 p.m., I will know the sign of purpose to talk with her again. Then I wait silent as fresh snowflakes on a far wind-waked field, close aside trees at my trapdoor, as she does come in before the appointed timing. This time of coming she still argues and runs off away firstly, but 1/2 hour later she creeps back and we gets her feet up on the top step to dip down to Pig Palace before she holds it back. I tell her all is good, nothing to give fright. I give her my best rubber torch, what Dad gave for 9th birthdays. Small fingers press its fat button, and she goes down to the steps. She stops after only some seconds to shine this torch direct at my face, though Freya has every piglet in silent time. There is a tremble about her lips, and her eyes do have a glimmer of frighteners upon them. I make a stumble on the down step for the upset I give to her, which is not within my wishing. I want to go home now, she says in fierceness. Please get out of my way. I is heart heavy and full with the enormous size what gave up from my feet, but I will not give her more frights, so I move for her to pass. But she turns the torch back downward, and her breath pulls in through her teeth, and I know she is not so feared. The pigs are in difficulty with full stillness, and when they smell and see a Holly, she shines the light up on them. Pigs? She says with her feet plopping onto my soft earth floor. Pigs? And there it is, the wondering surprises within her voice, just as I had to guess it would be. And laced up within I hear the fright still, As what she comes up on here is extreme strange to her, I switch for the major light and turn it for her to gather the whole picture of Piggy Palace. Piggy wig wiggy pigwiggies, I say. Jack Plum's porkers. And she gives a long, long piano laugh as the piglets twirl up on her feet. And Freya rubs close at her legs with grunts to welcome and tell all the tribe crew of this acceptance. Hollylock turns bright eyes over me and gives more and more laughing until I think her breath will halt. And she walks at all the spaces and stares and gawps long and touches flowers and ornament stuff like it is Alice in the Wonderland. Who made this place, Jack Plum? Where did the pigs come from? Who looks after them? She questions all in one scoop. Me, and me, I say. Dad started before he was gone. He loved pigs. Jack finished it. Get first pigs at Farmer Cotton's fields. But that's stealing, Jack, she says. I give back, Holly. Lots more than borrowed. Good breeder. Swap pigs. And Farmer Cotton doesn't know? No, does not know. She laughs more and I join with her, and keep my boomy laugh soft so as not to worry. There is a lifting of something off my heart, a lightness. Even the hogshead is less of weight. My words come out easy, making the good shapes for her. You've stopped stuttering, Jack Plum, she says in wiseness, and I know the rightness and the choosing of Holly Lock to share Pig Palace world. I nod my hogshead and tell of the happiness with pigs what helps brain and mouth work together, and she asks for the full tale of the coming of Pig Palace, and listens entire to all the words, even the ones I still break, and at the ending of it there is her big smile, the electric light one that comes full on. That's just incredible, she says. You can really talk properly, and you've made all of this, and you breed your pigs, and no one's ever found out. I can't believe it. I make explanation of how I choosed her from all others to become pig friend and my friend. She is much pleasured on that, but wants knowledge of all the why things. Why her, and why keep secret for a long time past without the telling, and I describe on the alone space within her what I do see even though she does pomp and tribe about. I say also of my own alone space what I did have need of sharing. When she is still in some questionings, I give extra much time to tell about aloneness as okay, like Dad told me, but that it might turn to loneliness, which makes for anger turned in, like Ma'am. I know from her face shapes that I make a connecting and complete within, I think words like destiny, what are to do with luck and wishes on pig relic stone and stars in dark time skies. I speak long stretches of words as never before, and my tongue comes full loose as if oiled. Freya rubs the wet snout upon Holly's arm. This makes a full sanctioning, allowing of her to be aside new piglets. Freya is elder of my pig cluster as well as tribe mem, which she accepts, they do accept. Freya likes you, welcomes you, I tell Holly. She strokes on top of Freya's head and backs out of her ears like a canine thing, and Freya and all others make big snorts and guzzles. Where did your dad go, Jack? Holly asks then. When I make the head shakes, she looks to me with sadness sparks on her eyes, so I tell I do not like to dwell upon Dad and his leaving or the empty space where he occupied once. And she does speak soft on how her dad did leaves also, and I get surprised and filled of warm that she does make a connection with the lone places and the absence of Dad's, for this is upon my thoughts at all times. I did choose good with Holly Lock, and I wish so much to be able to speak words out at her, as I mold them within the hogshead, to show who really lives inside this goblin-y shape. But for the now I get happy as I have been ever. It is like dream time in the place you love most, and I must make the gift, so I search among the piglets and select one to give Holly. I do it with ceremony thoughts within, and taking thoughts to the pig relic stone, as that's the way for things. For Holly. Happy birthday. Here, take, I say. She takes the wriggling piglet and rests it close at her heart, the wide smile full of gurgles. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Is it really mine? Can I really keep it? Yes, I will take care and show you how, if you visit more. Try and stop me, she says, with much strokes on Piglet. And it must be fully secret, I tell. It'll be our secret. Promise, I say, for a ritual. Cross my heart and hope to die. Ouch, it nibbled me. Piglet is filled of hunger for the man's milk, so I do take it from Holly with much gentleness to place it close up on Freya and the other pig babes for feed time. They shuffle and wriggle to discover their own teats, the ones that they did claim early. A loud, snuffling grunting crams the air as they gobble. Holly stares, kneeling beside, eyes full of unexpectedness. Holly stares, kneeling beside, eyes full of unexpectedness. Freya is so huge, Jack. I've never seen such a large pig. Good pig. 8 piglets this time. Have piglets 2 times a year. I pull fresh hay for Holly to sit. She smiles and pats at the space by her. Come and sit down, Jack. Tell me about the pigs. How long does their carrying take? You know, like humans take 9 months. I sit, but not in closeness. I leave space enough for some cat to crawl between us. I know of the importance that I keep distance, me being so big and untidy next to her. And I make explanation of my learning on pigs. On gestation what is called farrowing, and is filled with strangeness, where it does take 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days. This, I believe, is extreme special, and I do see on Holly's face her full joy at this knowing. Some of the piglets is gobbled full now. They roll from Freya and stumble at the small waterfall and pond, frolicking and splashing like ducklets. Holly watches and gives more laughing. I like it, this laugh. It says freedom. It says she will have the whole world full ahead of her, and nothing to impede. They like water, then, she says, as they shake out nearby her legs. I say on pigs not having sweat glands, and that is the love of water in them, to make cool on the skin, and that is reasoning they make rolls within mud if no water is nearby, not on account of being dirty beasts, but a necessity of cooling blood system. You're a clever Jack Plum to know all this stuff. Oh, look, is that my piglet? Has it come back to me? I nod to the hoghead slow, and Holly catches the pig babe up. Look at its eyes, Jack. So sharp, so bright, just as if it's thinking. When I tell her of pig thinking and extreme intelligence, she puts even more questions at me, and I say of another sense they do have what I name pig sense. This gives them the knowing of moods and changes within pigs and human pigs and all spaces in and about them. Like they is connected to all things around, and their bristles is the bringer of signals. They're not as clever as dogs, though, are they? This is the thought in much of the outside world, but I give knowledge of how pigs is much cleverer I tell of what me and Dad heard on radio one time, a challenging thing for pig scientifics and chimp monkey scientifics. Holly makes the word contest, and I recall is correct, a contest of pigs and chimp monkeys, where they did make a special testings and puzzles and problem fathoming, and all overlooked by scientifics, judge people, and all of 2 full daytimes to carry through. She is total wrapped in this idea, and when I make knowledge that the pigs did win this contesting, we is both loosened up with happiness, and I make my exciting times jump, and Holly enjoins with fat smiles and high chortles, and all pigs gather and stomp about in turbulence until we fall in the haystackings with great breathings. And when it is calm again, I say she must name the piglet. She thinks for some while, turning her head that way. Peter, she says, Peter Pig. I let out my full roaring thunderstorm laugh and make her jump. I see the sudden rushing fear in her sharp eyes, and then it does exit quick as it arrived. Girl, Piglet, Holly, girl, I say. Girl? Okay, so Penny? No, that's not right. Poppy? No, Peach, that's it, Jack. Jack, Plum, Peach, Pig. Holly's face does come to beam with smiles. That is when Mam starts the banging stick and the shouting of me. Holly takes worry into her face, and I do tell of it being Mam within the wheelchair, and wanting of assistance, and then she is in full understanding. She says she must depart also, and I do feel the small beginnings of losing her again to the outside world. When she makes questions on how to visit with us more, I get filled of joy she will return. I explained that we have to be extreme careful that no kitty pigs find the palace, and she tells how she cannot let it come unknown, that it is unallowed to see me. So we make the pact, her titchy hand upon my jumbo one, and I show to her the extra key space in where Rubber Torch lives, and I survey that no kitty pig is out and about before she clambers into the wood and outside world. Back down to the palace I carry a sadness dollop up on my stomach, heavy as stone, because there's the knowing that me and Holly Lock can never be out in the open, friends. Freya and the other pigs comprehend my droopiness and cluster me silently, pressing warmth to make me safe. Mam's banging stick starts up again, and I put my blue dismals aside and go to her. Holly Lock's world. Sometimes, when I'm watching a really frightening film on TV, I want to run out of the room because it's too much to take. When I was standing on the steps down to Jack's palace, with him behind me in the darkness below, I got the same feeling. My heart was juddering too much, and my mouth was dry as dust, but in the torchlight his eyes looked so gentle I took a chance, and it was like Miss Dove said. By facing it, I realized I could overcome the fear. As soon as I saw the pigs, I knew it was all okay. He didn't want to frighten me or hurt me. He just wanted to show me his pigs. He wanted to share his secret with someone, and he'd chosen me. There was this music at junior school. Our PE teacher, Miss Judd, used to play it for movement lessons. In the Hall of the Mountain King, it was called. It used to scare me and make me feel excited all at the same time. And as I looked around Jack's amazing creation, it just popped into my head. It was perfect because it summed up exactly how I felt. The waterfall, the bells, the artificial grass and flowers, the little handmade pens full of fresh hay in the troughs, all with pictures of pigs painted on them and the hay bales stretching right up to the ceiling. It's a magical place. Jack is the king, and he's invited me into his pigdom. It's amazing how he lives in this completely separate life, all hidden away, doing things in the night when everyone else is sleeping, breeding his pigs and swapping them. It's the sort of thing you read about in books, but you never think will happen to you. That's what I was looking for in Pard's Wood. For something unusual to happen, and the thing is, I have to keep it secret because that's the whole point of it. Jack doesn't want anyone else to know. I can carry it round inside my head and dip into it whenever I want. The best of all, I can go there. Get away from everything, be hidden away with Jack and Peach and all the other pigs. How can I eat bacon and sausage and chops now that Jack's told me pigs are more intelligent than chimps? I'll have to go full veggie or else I'll have to explain why it's just pigs I don't want to eat. I'd love to find out what Jack's dad was like. It was his idea to build the palace and get to pigs, so he must have been an unusual guy. Don't remember much about mine except maybe the damp, oily smell he used to have on his boots. Ma'am said it was from working on cars all day long. I do remember he said a squeaky type of voice, and when he shouted it really did my head in. It sounded sort of mechanical, and he shouted quite a lot. Nothing ever seemed to please him. Can't picture him with a smile on his face taking me out or reading to me. Nothing like that, just the oily smell, the squeakiness, and the bad temper. As it was getting dark, I looked out of my window toward Pard's Wood. Jack told me he took the pigs there at night into the deepest part where the river is. Samantha and Colin were at the end of our garden smoking. She waved at me to come out, but I pretended I hadn't seen her. I wasn't in the mood for her chattering. She just smokes for effect because she reckons it's cool. She doesn't inhale the way Colin does, right down to his boots. And I've sometimes seen her nose wrinkle up at the first few drags as if she's forcing herself to do it. She's always got to have the hottest gear as well, as if it's some sort of religion. And she wears loads of makeup. Miss Stubbs always telling her to go wash her face and give her skin a chance to breathe. Thing is, she's actually got gorgeous skin, naturally tan with apricot-colored cheeks and lips and teeth just like Julia Roberts. I hate it if she stands next to me in the toilet at school when I'm brushing my hair. It's like Cinderella and her ugly sister. My skin is pink and full of freckles, and I've got really thick eyebrows. And when she stares at me with this wary look she has, I sometimes can't tell whether Samantha likes me or hates me. When Samantha went off, Colin hung about our gate. I saw him glance up the path once or twice to see if he was hoping I'd go out. But when I do hang out with him, he behaves like an a-hole. Like the other day at school, he told me of the other lads, Trevor Quilling, that he got animal magnetism. I nearly choked trying not to laugh out loud. He thinks it means not watching or changing his duds every day. He thinks that's why some lasses like bikers, because they smell of oil and stuff. What an idiot. Don't know why Trevor listens to him, but because he's far more interesting than Colin. He likes books for a start, asks good questions in English. His clothes are ace, and he looks a bit like Hugh Grant, only not so self-absorbed, but he lives at the other end of Jasmine Dean, so I never seen him outside of school. Anyway, I reckon he'd never fancy me. I don't look like much older than his sister, and she's in year 6. Jack Plum thinks I'm special, though. If he'd been interested in somebody pretty, he would have picked Samantha, not me, but he said he knew I was clever and would love his pigs. He could tell from watching me. And when he's with the pigs, he stops stuttering, and I can tell that he's clever as well. Everything he knows and everything he's built, he wants to share with me, and he doesn't give a about breasts and stuff like that. Mam was home late tonight, and she's forgotten to get my favorite bologna sauce for the spaghetti. Sorry, bolognese sauce for the spaghetti. Then she was on the phone for ages. I could hear the rumble of her voice through my bedroom wall. When I went downstairs for the tarot ritual, she was very quiet, and I thought she was going to tell me something important, like Gran was ill, but she didn't. Instead, she asked me to pick a card. I selected the Hanged Man. The picture shows a man hanging from a tree by his left foot. The other leg is folded behind, making a cross shape, and his arms are behind his back, like they might be tied. He has a halo around his head. He's telling you to be prepared to look at a situation from a new perspective, not just to think about what it means to you, but to see the best for everyone concerned, Ma'am explained. For some reason, this card seemed to please her, almost as if she'd wanted me to pick it. Very strange. In my bedroom, one of the flowers from my slipper orchid had fallen on the floor. It looked like an exotic butterfly resting on my dark green carpet. I pressed it between tissue paper and put it in the orchid section of my flower book. Granddad Logan gave me some old cigarette cards before he left and said they'd become collector's items and make me some money someday. They're in sets and depict different subjects such as footballers, cars, and so on. One set is all flowers. They're beautiful fold-over cards with embroidered pictures on the inside. The one with the slipper orchid is has the name Lady Slipper, and it says that in France and Portugal they call it Shoe of the Virgin. Years and years back, they used to make a drink from the petals, an elixir which was supposed to cure epilepsy.